What is good, YouTube, and welcome back to a brand new video. So as we know, the NBA draft is literally tomorrow. It's finally going to be here. I cannot wait. I'm so anxious, nervous, and excited at the same time. But if you know the name Mark Stein, he's pretty notable in the NBA reporter world. He dropped an article yesterday talking about how the Clippers have been gauging the trade interest in Paul George around the league, and the Blazers and the Rockets were specifically linked in his article as two teams that could make sense for Paul George. So if this is true, which I'm not saying it is, we are going to be doing a trading away Paul George Clippers rebuild, which I would assume means that we're probably going to be trading Kawhi as well. So this essentially could be a blowing up Los Angeles Clippers rebuild today. Also, real quick, I forgot to mention this. I will be going live tomorrow for the NBA draft. I don't know if I'll have a rebuild out tomorrow whatsoever. I think I'm just going to just focus on the live stream. Unless if like a trade actually goes down, then maybe I'll get out a rebuild before the live. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But if you want to hang out with me tomorrow during the NBA draft, it's going to be one of the most stressful times in my history as a Blazers fan. So if you want to hang out with me during the draft, you're more than welcome to. Just wanted to go ahead and announce that I will be live tomorrow for the NBA draft, but most of you probably already knew that. But enjoy the video. Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys drop a like on this one and subscribe if you are new to this channel. As always, greatly appreciated. We're really close to 36,000 subs, and YouTube tells me that 63% of the people that watch the videos are not subscribed. So if you do fall into that 60%, want to change that and help us get to 36,000 subs today, that would be amazing. Thank you so much for that. The Los Angeles Clippers, are they going to actually blow it up this offseason? I think it makes a ton of sense. Mark Stein is reporting that they're at least gauging the trade interest in Paul George. Now, if Paul George were to be traded, does that mean Kawhi is gone as well? Or are they envisioning trading Paul George for someone else to pair him with Kawhi? I don't know. I would assume that if Paul George is gone, Kawhi is gone. And this is honestly justified if the Clippers do this, because Paul George and Kawhi are both on the last years of their deal with a player option next year if they do accept or decline that. Kind of depends what happens, I would assume. But yeah, it's definitely risky if you let those two go into free agency next year with their player options. You don't really know what's going to happen. So I could see this making a lot of sense for the Clippers to potentially trade away PG and trade away Kawhi and kind of reset this thing while you can. Because if you let those two walk for nothing next year, yeah, this team is going to be in a very, very bad spot. But the two teams that were linked to Paul George from Mark Stein was the Rockets and the Blazers. So let me show you the trade that I did, and I'll explain why I didn't do the other one in a second. So here's the two trades that I did with both Kawhi and Paul George. So Kawhi Leonard is headed to Miami. So let's assume the Blazers get Damian Lillard his help, and it wasn't Paul George in this scenario. So Miami turns their attention to Kawhi if the Clippers did hypothetically trade away Paul George. So Kawhi goes to Miami for that package that's been literally dangling around forever. And Hero, Jovic, bunch of first, Duncan Robinson, a salary filler. That's what the Clippers get for Kawhi. Tyler Hero is a nice guy, or a nice player that fans would come to watch potentially. Just someone that could have all the freedom in the world here in LA. On the other hand, Paul George headed to Houston for Kevin Porter Jr., Tar Eason, and that 4th overall pick. The reason why we didn't do it with the Portland Trail Blazers is I don't see them trading for Paul George. As much as he makes sense as the guy they're looking for, he makes a little too much money where Portland would have to match with Anthony Simons, Nurkic, and another player. I don't see Portland doing that. Maybe it's just Simons and Nurkic, but still, I don't see Portland doing that. Or I think it's another player on top of those two. I think to match his salary, they'd have to trade 3 players plus that 3rd overall pick. That seems like just way too much, I would imagine. And Portland to have a tough time getting a center to replace Nurkic, even though he's not the best center in the world. You still need a center, and I just don't see them doing that. Instead, Paul George goes and teams up with James Harden, who maybe inevitably signs with the Rockets. So that's the trades that we did. I understand if you think these aren't good enough. Obviously, everyone's opinion is different, but this video is just for entertainment purposes only. So yeah, and another reason why I also did it with the Rockets instead of the Blazers is because I've done a Scoot Henderson rebuild so many times, I feel like. So I feel like this changed up a little bit. So I've done enough talking. I've done enough recapping of why we did what we did. On draft night, we selected Amen Thompson, Kobe Buffkin, and Olivier Prosper Maxwell, or however you say it, Prosper, something like that, however you say his name. So Prosper, Kobe Buffkin, and Amen Thompson, and they did draft me Chris Murray in the 2nd round, but it looks like I'm not going to be able to sign him, and we can't sign our rookies. We actually have to go ahead and start making trades. So let's go do that, because there's some other guys I do want to trade away, so that's more than fine. So to sign our rookies, let's start the trades of everyone else on the roster and start selling the pieces that we still do have. I need to make room on my roster, so we're going to be sending Robert Covington over to Indiana for 2 second-round picks. I think that gives us enough room now, and we still have one more trade we have to make before we can sign all of our first-round picks, so let's go ahead and do that as well. Next is trading Amir Coffee over Detroit for 2 seconds. I have to free up room to sign our rookies, so that should be enough. All right, finally got that done. Player options, I'm not going to accept Eric Gordon because I don't think we bring him back. Plus, since we're kind of rebuilding now, it doesn't make sense to bring him back. And then Brandon Boston, Jason Preston, and Bones Highland, I will bring all of them back. That's 3 point guards, but we'll figure it out. And then qualifying offers got nothing. As far as free agency is concerned, obviously we're LA and we could bring in free agents if we want, but we don't have cap space still because we still have a lot of big contracts on our roster with Morris, Batum, and maybe someone else. And then Duncan Robinson, of course, you just took that on as well. So a lot of big salaries. Terrence Mann is another one that's kind of a decent salary, so we don't have cap space. So I don't really plan on, and then Kevin Porter Jr. So we got a lot of, we're still paying a lot of guys, but we'll figure it out. And then Hero's big contract. So we don't really have cap space. Amin Thompson, Tyler Hero is definitely our backcourt of the future. But if you look at the team right now, you have Kevin Porter Jr., you have Amin Thompson, Bones Highland, and Terrence Mann. That's a lot of point guards. We got to figure out what we're going to do with that. Shooting guards, you got Tyler Hero, Brandon Boston, and Kobe Buffkin. Honestly, I might be trading away Brandon Boston just because, like, yeah, the opportunity is finally here, but he's on the last year of his deal. So it feels like it would make more sense to maybe trade him while we still can and can go play somewhere else. You have Norman Powell and Duncan Robinson, 2 guys on some big contracts. I think Powell would definitely have some interest around the league. So at the trade deadline, we can maybe stop and try to trade him for a couple of firsts or something. Tari Eason, love that addition for us, and he's going to be really nice as our starting 4. Or starting 3, whatever we decide to do. And we only have Zubac as our starting center right now. So yeah, not all that great. We do need to sign at least 1 big man as a backup because we literally have nothing. So let's go get like Cody Zeller. It's not going to really matter too much this first year. I really don't care about. So Jalen Williams is here for whatever reason. You got Ibaka, or maybe we could just trade someone for a center. That's probably what we'll do instead. I didn't really like any of the centers available. So let's trade Brandon Boston and let's bring in a center just because we have so many guards as it is. We're just going to do this trade with the Atlanta Hawks. We get Bruno Fernando. Boston can maybe go be the backup point guard in Atlanta and get an opportunity there. And now we have a body at the backup center position. So we should be good in that regard now. And I don't think we'll be signing anyone else in free agency. So Brandon Boston is gone and we got Bruno Fernando. And it's just a matter of clearing up everything else. I think at the trade deadline, we're also going to fire sell Norman Powell, potentially Terrence Mann as well. We're definitely not done selling. We got a few pieces that we like. I don't know if Hero's going to be like the centerpiece of this team, but he's going to sell tickets at least for now. He'll be the main attraction of this team alongside Amin Thompson as well, who's super athletic. He'll be a lot of fun to watch as well. Don't get me wrong. So let's load this draft class and let's not expect too much. We're probably going to be pretty bad. I don't even think we own our pick next year, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be unfortunate unless if it's a pick swap, which I'm not totally sure. But we take a look at a rotation and see what we got going on. It's Kevin Porter Jr., Hero, Powell, Tari Eason, Zubac, Bones Highland, Amin Thompson, Terrence Mann, and Bruno Fernando, and then Nikola Jovic, which is fine. I want to be able to get Kobe Buffkin minutes this year. And then, yeah, Kobe Buffkin is the main concern that I have. So one thing is for sure is I'm starting Amin Thompson right away. I don't see why I wouldn't. So Amin Thompson, we're starting right away. And then is there anyone else in rotation? I guess Kobe Buffkin is going to sit out for now, but eventually at the deadline, we'll probably change that where we trade Powell and Terrence Mann. So proficiency is listed at a 2.5 defense. We can be a 3-star balanced, or can we be a 3.5 somewhere? We cannot. So 3-star balanced it is. And then I'm going to move Hero shot tendency is a 90, which is fine. I want Amin Thompson's shot tendency to be really high as well. And then I'm going to have him being mentored by like Morris or Batum, I guess, because I want Amin Thompson to go off this year if possible. So let's give Amin Thompson mentorship, and then we should be good at the trade deadline to trade away Powell and Terrence Mann for a couple picks or so. So first trade, the trade deadline, I promised you I was trading away Mann and also Norman Powell. The first trade that we're doing is we're sending Terrence Mann over to Philadelphia for 2028 first and taking on PJ Tucker's contract just to match Terrence Mann's salary. And the best offer we got for Norman Powell is to match Davis Bertans' salary with Norman Powell, and we get a lottery protected first round pick in 2026. So that's the trade that we'll do for Norman Powell. We get a couple of picks for both those guys to the deadline, which is what I wanted. And now Kobe Buffkin can step into the rotation. They do have Duncan Robinson starting at the 3, but I think what this means is we can move Tari Eason to the 3, and that way he can start there. And we can have a Kevin Porter Jr. Hero, which they're still wanting to start Kevin Porter Jr., but again, Amin Thompson is my starter here, and we do have 2 point guards come off the bench, so eventually we might have to figure that out, but we have an interesting starting group right now. And then Kobe Buffkin is in the rotation now, which again, I'm actually just going to go to an Amin rotation because there's no need for Batum to get any minutes for this team. And then Amin Thompson, once again, we'll change that, and then we should be good, or should be good for the rest of the year. So Amin Thompson, Hero, Eason, Jovic, Zubac, Bones Highland, Porter, Bruno Fernando, and Kobe Buffkin to end off this season. So at the end of the season, we finished up at 29-53. It's very apparent that Portland did not give Dame the help he needed, but hey, 29-53 for them as well. But if we take a look at the player stats, you had 22 from Tyler Hero, Kevin Porter Jr. with 15, Amon Thompson with 14.6 and 6 assists, 14 from Bones Highland, 12 from Zubac, and 11 from Tari Eason. There's still a lot of things we have to figure out, but we will get them figured out in due time. So let's go ahead and see who wins the championship this year. Miami with Kawhi does make it to the conference finals, but they get bounced out by Cleveland. So you have the Cavs versus the Grizzlies, and the Cavs go on to win the championship. So unfortunately for us, starting off this draft lottery, we do not have our pick this year. And as you can see, our pick literally became the #1 overall pick for the Oklahoma City Thunder. So yeah, once again, the Thunder are definitely reaping the rewards of that Paul George trade for them. We do have pick number 25 in this draft via the Miami Heat, though, so I guess we can be happy with that. Let's go straight into the draft, though. Yeah, it's kind of upsetting we don't have our own pick here. It is what it is, though. So let's get straight into it. Let's jump in at pick number 25. The Thunder do draft DJ Wagner, so I don't know what they'll do with him, but shout out to the Thunder for having #1 overall pick. We could take Kyle. We could take Nunez. We could take, I guess we'll just go with Kyle here at 25. Probably the best available at this point. So that'll be the guy, and he'll be our brand new addition here in LA. We also had, I don't know if I can sign these guys because there's so many guys under contract, but I'll sign him. Player options, Bones Highland, Tari Eason, Jovic, and then Bruno Fernando. There's Bertans declining. Tucker actually accepted his player option. I thought he would retire, but he didn't. We'll accept all 4 of those. Qualifying offers, Jason Preston. I don't envision I'll be bringing him back at this point. And then free agency, let's see. Do we have any big free agents? No, not really. Not at all. I mean, unless we are concerned with, don't know how to say his first or last name, so I'm not going to say it, but you get the point. So, looking at the team, Kevin Porter Jr., Bones Highland, Amon Thompson. I mean, at this point, I would love to trade away Kevin Porter Jr., get a pick or 2 for him as well, just because I feel like we kind of have our point guard rotation with Highland and Amon Thompson already. Hero, Kobe Buffkin. I want to be able to get Kobe Buffkin some minutes this year for sure, so he'll be our backup too. Tari Eason, Duncan Robinson. I mean, Robinson's not really going to be a huge part of what we're doing, but Tari Eason is great. Jovic, Tucker, and then we got Kyle as well in the draft. I like Jovic. I don't know if he's kind of our starting 4 caliber kind of player, but he's fine. So I guess the first step for me would be to trade away Kevin Porter Jr. and see what we can get for him. I guess if the Lakers are looking for help right now, Kevin Porter Jr., PJ Tucker for Max Lewis and a first-round pick is a done deal for me. Thank you, LA, for giving me a couple good pieces for our rebuild going forward. We still don't really have a direction established, but we do have a backup small 4 now with Tari Eason. Our 4 spot is still a little questionable, and Zubac and Fernando, that's still a little questionable as well. So don't get me wrong, this is not a finished product whatsoever. We're not even close, honestly. Literally not even close. But we do have a couple, or we do have some money in free agency, and we are the LA Clippers, so technically we could go out there and sign someone. So if I'm looking at it, I kind of like what I have in my small forward, my shooting guard, and my point guard spot. But my power forward and center, not so much. So if we take a look at what we could get in free agency, we have like Patrick Williams, Jared Vanderbilt, a Bull, Sadiq Bey. Don't like really any of those options too much. But at center, Jalen Duren, Okongwu, Zach Collins, James Wiseman, Achua, Pokoshevsky. I mean, there's a lot of good options here. I don't know why Detroit always declines Jalen Duren, but he's literally unrestricted right now. 6'11", 20 years old. I don't know what Detroit is doing, but I'm taking advantage of that. I'm giving Jalen Duren a contract, throwing my money. 4 years, $25 million for Jalen Duren. Done deal for me. That gives a brand new center that we could feel very confident about in our rebuild. So we're going to use our money. We're LA for crying out loud, and we know Steve Ballmer likes to spend. So just like that, we got our brand new center. Wasn't too confident in Zubac being the starter center going forward. So Jalen Duren is a really good reward, in my opinion. So welcome to Detroit, or not Detroit, LA. Jalen Duren, you're coming from Detroit to LA. Preston's back, but Tyler Hero is up. Bones Highland is up, and so is Amon Thompson, which is good to see. Jalen Duren is up. Tari Eason, Kobe Buffkin is up. So yeah, things are really starting to turn our way. Even Preston's up to a 75 overall if we decided to keep him around. So feeling good about this. We might even be able to be a sneaky playoff team this next season. I don't know if we will be, but I wouldn't rule it out. I definitely wouldn't rule it out. So let's go ahead and load this draft class, and let's look at this rotation together and kind of see where we're at as a team. So take a look at it. We got a, we're still power ranking number 29. So they may not believe in us just yet, but we got a starting 5 of Amon Thompson, Hero, Tari Eason, Jovic. They want to start Zubac, but that is not happening. Jalen Duren is 100,000% the starter. With Zubac, Bones Highland, we can switch these around a little bit and give Bones Highland 28 minutes. He'll be the 6th man. And then Kobe Buffkin, Max Lewis, and then Bruno Fernando, which I like. I actually really love this diamond rotation. So proficiency. We're 3.5 balanced. We're taking the necessary steps we need to be a team that can be interesting once again eventually. Shot tendencies still look very, very good in my opinion. So I'm just going to simulate this year, and we'll see how things go. At the end of year number 2, Garland wins MVP. Matisse, or Matt, or however you say his name, wins Rookie of the Year for the Washington Wizards, which would honestly be a steal for them at that point, because Washington, of course, is going to be to rebuild. So be able to get him, who is projected, I believe, to be the best 2024 prospect. Obviously, things can change. That'd be exciting for them. Portland has Scoot Henderson as 6th man of the year, Giannis Defensive Player, and then Jabari is most improved in Houston, and then Bickerstaff's Coach of the Year. So Garland, LaMelo, Giannis, Tatum, Webb, and Yama is your All-NBA first team. Here's your All-NBA third team, All Defensive first team, and All Defensive second team. Very exciting times for us because we are the 3rd seed in the West. Yeah, I don't know if that's surprising to you guys, but yeah, we already turned things around that quickly. I didn't think we would, but 51-31 on the season and being a playoff team, I don't know if we're a contender, but I mean, if you win 51 games, technically you could technically be a contender, so I don't know. Hero, Jalen Duren with 17-10 and 2 blocks. I mean, that was a steal of free agency. LA or Detroit letting him go was just amazing. But 16 from Amin Thompson, 15 from Bones Highland. You had 14 even from Nikola Jovic as well. So even Nikola Jovic is really turning into a very, very good starter for us. 36% from 3. So I'm feeling really good about this. Tari Easton with 12, 10 from Kobe Buffkin, 10 from Zubac with 8 rebounds and almost a block as well. And Max Lewis with 6.5. So overall, I feel like the turnaround we've had with this Clippers team is quite impressive. But let's see if we could potentially go far in these playoffs. I don't know if we'll be able to beat New Orleans in round 1. It's definitely going to be an interesting matchup. We'll see what happens. Let's still make current round against New Orleans and see what happens. And we literally just sweep them. So they're out of our way. And we're playing the 7th seed in Memphis Grizzlies. So there is a chance that we make it to the conference finals in year 2 with this squad, which is honestly quite surprising. They'll simulate current round, and we are going to lose to Memphis. So it definitely sucks that we lost to Memphis. Houston with Paul George, though, gets all the... And they sign Markelle Fultz. Again, and Kyrie Irving. Wow, okay. Shout out to Houston. So after getting Paul George, they turned their quick attention. Again, probably would be James Harden if this were to happen, which it probably won't. But Paul George, James Harden, but I guess it's Kyrie Irving in this scenario, and then Markelle Fultz. Shout out to the Rockets, but let's see what happens here. So in the playoffs, and we got the Grizzlies going on to the finals. So Cavs versus Grizzlies round 2, and the Cavs win it again this time. So we did have the 25th overall pick in this draft, but obviously with being a 51-win team, we got Stojakovic, which is great. I don't know if it'll be a huge part of what we do. Duncan Robinson accepts his player option, and we have a lot of good young pieces that we could potentially throw at a trade if we wanted to. So, I mean, we already tasted success. Maybe it's time to go ahead and cash in and try to get someone here that makes a lot of sense here. We do have money in free agency, but I don't really like any of the power forwards that are available. So, at this point, we could just roll with Nikola Jovic still, but I don't know if I want to bank on him hitting up to an 80 overall. I think 79 might be his ceiling. So, I kind of want to bring in a 4. Who's going to be a starter, or a 3 because we can move Tari Easton to the 4 if we need to. So, yeah, I think that's what I'm turning my attention to. We're going to try to go get a forward who's on a decent, or who's kind of on the same timeline as Tyler Hero, and we can maybe be a sneaky contender next year. That's how close we are already, which I didn't expect whatsoever. So at this point, I'm going to try to use Duncan Robinson's contract to get me a really good role player and Jared Vanderbilt. Don't need him to do too much. Just come in and play some defense a little bit. So I have Robinson, Fernando, and Stojakovic, who we just drafted. And let's say we threw in Trayvon Brazil here as well. All this for Vanderbilt. What do you say? They do agree. Jared Vanderbilt, welcome to LA. I don't know if he'll be our starting 4, but he'll be a really good role player here. And then maybe Jovic hits an 81 overall. Who knows? So at this point, we only need to bring back the other 2 guys, which I think is, yeah, just Bones Highland and Zubac, which I have interest in bringing both of them back. I do want to wait till a little bit less cheaper, or a little less expensive, I guess is the term I want to use. So let's see if Zubac and Bones Highland go down. I got to make sure Zubac doesn't go anywhere. 20 million is just kind of a steep price tag as a backup center. Like, I'm fine with him coming back to LA, but I envision him more of as a backup big man for us. So yeah, a little tough pill to swallow if I'm paying him as much as he's asking for. So Bones Highland, I hate giving him this as well, but let's say it's 20 million, or let's say we can get him down to like 19 over 4, and then Zubac kind of like maybe, yeah, 15 I think would feel pretty good as a backup center. It's still kind of expensive, but I think it'll be worth it. So Bones Highland and Zubac, welcome back. And then player progression, hoping for some big things here. You have Amin Thompson up to an 85. Duren is up. Jovic is up to an 80, which is a good sign. Lewis is up. Kobe Buffkin is up. And Kyle is up as well. So just a lot of progression on our side. Honestly, next year, there is a very, very good chance we're a contender. To be honest with you, that could definitely happen. We got to the 3rd seed last year. Maybe we win 60 games this year and are literally the first seed in the West. I don't know. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I wouldn't rule it out just based off where the trajectory of this team is right now based off last season. So Power King landed us at 23rd, so they don't really believe in us. They didn't believe in us last year either, though. But if you look at the starting five, Thompson, Hero, Easton, Vanderbilt, Duran, Bones Highland, Zubac, Nikolajovic, Max Lewis. That leaves Kobe Buff getting out of the rotation, which I guess is fine. Whatever. We'll leave that the way it is. And the proficiency, we're a 4-star balance. So let's summate this season. Let's see what happens. Hoping for the best here and hoping we're like 60 win team. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but that's my most optimistic wish, I guess. So at the end of this season, we did not win first seed in the West, but we did get the second seed in the West. That's fine. We didn't win 60 games either, but if you look at the player stats, Hero led the way with 27. Amon Thompson's up to averaging 21 and 9, which I love to see. 15 from Tari Easton, 15 from Bones Highland, 14 from Duran with 8 rebounds, and then 10 from Nikolajovic, 10 from Zubac, and then he had 7 from Max Lewis, and then 4 from Jared Vanderbilt. And then as far as shooting is concerned, Amon Thompson shooting 32%, which is at least respectable. Obviously, you'd probably love it if it was like 35, 38, but 32, it could be worse, right? It could be worse. So let's go ahead and see who we get in round 1. It's the Houston Rockets, ironically enough. So Nick Smith, Paul George, Kyrie Irving. Let's see if we lose to Houston. We got to round 2 last year. Let's see if we can get there this year. So my current round, and we beat them in 4. So literally took care of business there, and now we're back to where we were last year. But this time, let's see if we make it to the conference finals. The San Antonio Spurs look very, very good on paper. So yeah, it's going to be a tough matchup. Let's see what happens. Game 1, 1-0. Beat them by 12. Tyler Hero with 27 and 6. Amon Thompson, 21 and 11. Game 2, 2-0. 139 and 98. Just absolutely obliterated them. I feel like just everything we threw together just fits so perfectly. But so far, okay. We have not lost a playoff game, and I was about to say we may have to deal with the Thunder, but that is not the case. We get the Timberwolves lost to them. We got Shea, Giddey, Kuzma, Jalen Williams, Chet, Pokuševski, Jalen Johnson, Bryce Sensabaugh, DJ Wagner, and Keelan Ware. So yeah, let's see how it goes. Game 1, they're up 1-0. Makes sense. Game 2, down 2-0. Game 3, we do even it up. Maybe with game 4, we do. Can we win 3 straight though? We cannot. We go to a game 6, and if we want to win at all, we have to go to a game 7. So here we go. Game 6, all or nothing to push this team to a game 7. The team that robbed us with all those assets as we gave them, or they, obviously Paul George, they gave us Paul George. But here's our ability to get revenge potentially. Let's see what happens. And we are going to squeeze this one out. We're going to a game 7, baby. 120 to 127, 20 and 12 from Hero, 23 from Amon Thompson, 23 from Bones Highland. So game 7, back in Oklahoma City. They want to give more minutes to Vanderbilt. Whichever they think is best, we'll roll with it. So here we go. Game 7 against the Thunder. Can we make it to the NBA Finals? We're blowing them out in the first quarter. Do not blow this, man. Do not blow this. We cannot start off. Yeah, I think we did it. I think we did it. We absolutely did it. So we went down 3-2. But Amon Thompson was your conference finals MVP. Shot 38% from 3 in those conference finals, which is what I wanted, and he's almost averaging a double-double. So shout out to Amon Thompson. Now we get the Cavs, though. The Cavaliers, they lost Donovan Mitchell. They have Terrence Mann. So honestly, the cards are in our favor to win a championship, which is something I did not expect at all this quickly. So here we go. Game 1, 1-0. Game 2, 2-0. Game 3, 3-0. And just like that, the Clippers curse is officially over. Tower Hero is your finals MVP, and we have won a championship that quick. What was it? We traded him. What year is this? I don't even know at this point, but we traded Paul George, and we already won a championship. It felt like we did that in like literally 3 years. So feeling pretty good about that, and we got ourselves a championship. So tomorrow is the NBA draft, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I will be going live tomorrow, so if you want to, hang out with me during the draft, it's going to be one of the most nerve-wracking times I've ever been in as a Blazers fan. So if you want to see me stress out the whole time, I'll be live tomorrow. But for now, this is Crushables. I'm saying peace. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you click here to watch another video that I know you'll love.